Hey, welcome to Clarksville Vibe the show where we tell the stories of people who make Clarksville the best place to live in America. I'm your host, Kevin Kennedy Jr. Thank you so much for watching today. If you would, just for a moment, just hit like, subscribe, any kind of action online, sharing, leave us a review. It really helps us grow our community, helps us tell our story about positive things in Clarksville to more people. So I'm super excited about today's episode. Got a man that you are really going to enjoy hearing from. A man so cool, when he enters the room, the heat kicks on. Did you know that, Jimmy?
Oh, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
A man that when Denzel was asked who did he want to play him in his biography, he said none other than Jimmy Terry Jr.
Exactly.
That's right.
Jimmy
That's
Terry
right.
Jr.
That's right. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Jimmy Terry Jr. here with us today. We are excited. He has got some nuggets he's going to drop with us today, telling us about his story, his life, his legacy, how he what's been going on in Clarksville.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Couple gems today.
You're going to drop them.
Jim's going to drop some gems.
That's
there we
right.
go.
Well, hey, I'm really excited for you to be with us. You were right on top of my mind when I was thinking of, okay, our tagline is, we tell the stories of people who make Clarksville the best place to live in America. Jimmy Terry Jr. is right at the top of the list. So thanks so much for your time, man.
Well, thank you.
It's
I appreciate
joy.
it. I'm glad to be here.
And as I've told you many times before, I just admire your continual push to keep pushing yourself, to grow in new ways, to try new things, to, just add value to our community in so many ways. So what I want to know is, Jimmy Terry Jr., the young man, we all see where you are today, but what I want to know is, let's travel back a couple decades,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Let's see, how did Jimmy Terry get to where he is today based on the experiences that he's had in his past?
Experiences I've had in the past. Well, first of all, I had a great teacher.
Yeah.
My namesake, Pastor Jimmy Terry. So throughout my life, other parents had parents that would go to, like your dad, go to the law office or go to work, train, or different jobs.
Yeah.
My father was always home.
Okay.
No spring break, and he was, I got to do work. So continually, he made it intentional to teach you every day. If it wasn't biblical, but it was life lessons.
That's right.
I mean, I had a book called Christian Manhood Manual, but it didn't talk about just Christianity. It talked about how to tie a tie, what forks and knives to use at a dinner table,
Okay.
how to treat a young lady, to
Yeah.
pull the chair out, etiquette and things like that. So that's how I got where I am. But a lot of people don't know, I've worked for the fire department coming up on my 33rd year.
Wow.
But at one point, I moved to Nashville.
Okay.
And I lived in Nashville for 15 years.
Yeah.
So that gave me a chance to kind of figure out, get away from under your father.
That's right.
Stretch your legs. Because one of the reasons was I always went somewhere and they say, "Aren't you Pastor Terry's son?" That's Pastor Terry's son.
That's right.
And I didn't want to bring any type. I wasn't doing bad things, but I wasn't Pastor Terry. So
right.
I went into another city. So that gave me a chance to just figure out things on my own and become the man that I've become, and just take my bumps and bruises and come back and
Sure.
just do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think
So during that time you were in Nashville, were you still working at the fire department here?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was crazy. So now that I don't do it anymore, that trip, it's every 8 days out of the month you would drive back
That's
and forth.
right. Yeah.
But once I didn't do that, I was like, what kind of nut was I making that trip? Nuts. It was crazy.
Yes.
But now living here and I couldn't fathom doing it, especially during the times that I was doing it. We had the worst snowstorms.
Yeah.
And I would have to go on duty that morning. Yeah.
And there's no not showing up.
Oh, it's not no
when
showing
you're a
up.
first responder.
First responder, you
That's
have
right.
to make it on time. So I would
Yes.
leave, if it was snowing, I would leave 5 a.m. and have to
Right.
be there to 8. But it was steady.
So tell me a little bit about, what was part of the decision-making process that you were going through that made you decide to want to be a part of the fire department here?
So if it's the route that I wanted to take, and not to say it again, but I wanted to be an attorney ever since I was growing up.
Wow.
But Pastor Terry was so deliberate. And I told him one day, everybody else was outside. I took continuing education class at Austin P, typing, shorthand, photography, and, those type things, piano lessons, that when it came time to graduate, I was like, I'm done. I'm on, man. No school for me.
Yes.
And I hate that part. So I went to the street department and worked with Jim Dort.
Okay.
Shout out to Jim. Jim's about to leave.
Okay.
Did that for 3 years. And my brother was on the fire department.
Okay.
And I was like, you only work 8 days out of the month? And he quit. And when he quit, but just to give you an example how my dad was, he had the influence that I could have gotten the job. Just said, hey, I want to transfer and be a fire department. I had to write a letter to every council member explaining, I'm Jimmy Terry. I've worked for the street department. I want to better my career, my life. I like the opportunity to meet with you.
Yeah.
I found one of the letters and I had to sit down and talk to each one of them to get on the fire department. It wasn't no like, hey, get my son on.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
He pushed you, made you grow.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It wasn't
the
favoritism.
valuable lessons.
Yeah. Crazy valuable. One more. And
I love that.
So in 8th grade at Richview, Mr. Burchett was my principal. And one year in 8th grade, second year English, just messed around, didn't pass.
Yeah.
And I remember them saying, Pastor, he made all good grades. Every class, he just didn't make it this time. We're going to go ahead and pass him. Negative.
No, he
He's
wasn't.
like, oh, no. Not only did I have to go to summer school, we lived on Swan Lake.
Okay.
Summer school was at Richview.
Okay.
And he said, boy, you're going to be tied up my summer all year. I had to walk from our house at Swan Lake to Richview School, there and back for the full, that half semester. 8th grade. It was crazy. Like, I had to walk to summer school.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's a little bit of a hill, too, coming up Dunbar
hill,
County.
the Tennessee summers. But so I'm just telling you some of the things.
The topography.
No. And those were the times that things like that kind of shaped
right.
who I am.
Man, that's great. Yeah, and I know you said 33 years on the fire department, man. That's a long time of service. I know our community has been blessed by it. Eventually you added a real estate career.
Real estate,
onto
so I'm
your,
onto
your,
yes.
Your day to day. So tell me about what made you get into that? How long you've been doing it?
So with real estate, I've been doing real estate for about 13 years now.
Yeah, wow.
Yes. And it really started, a good friend of mine, some love him, some don't, but Rick Rita.
Okay.
Real good friend of mine. Rick started his car lot. We were at the fire department together, and he said, JT, get you about 30,000, come over to the car lot with me. And me running around, I said, I'm good. So, he started Rick Rita Automotive.
That's right.
And he did well with that, quit the fire department, did cars for a long time. So when he started building, he said, look, do not miss the real estate boat with me.
Yes.
Go get your license. Let's make this money. And I started doing real estate, and I enjoyed it, loved it. And then it turned into a passion, just helping people.
That's right.
One of my things is when people come to me, they're not in a bad mood. They're usually happy. Mm-hmm. So it sounds corny, but I said my job is to maintain your level of happiness or take it higher.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever came to me like, oh, man, I got to buy a house.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we got to buy a house. They're excited.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is just keep that level.
You're keeping it there.
Yeah.
And
that's how we
you've
got
seen
to
some
it.
things happen. 13 years. This is not something that you jumped on in 2017 and have just ridden this wave that we're in right now. You got your bumps, your licks, you got them all, huh?
No closings.
You've been through.
Just like, what? What am I doing?
Yeah.
To now, it's a good.
But what I love about what you shared is that really everyone's kind of next step in their success, people that have continued to progress in their career, they don't really do it on their own. There's people who have encouraged them, inspired them, pushed them along the way, kicked them in the tail. And for you, that was Rick.
Yeah.
Rick came to you and said, hey, this is an opportunity. Mm-hmm. You're the guy with the skill, the talent, the ambition, the drive, the ethics. I want you, you need to be doing this with me. And so, when you talk to enough successful people, you hear that same common thread of, what really catapulted me was this relationship that I had, how people are really valuable to me. So, we got to talk about your dad a little bit, as you brought it up. But as you're growing up, you're kind of living under this shadow, and then you start to become your own caterpillar, and you're now a butterfly, and you build your own brand. But along the way, I know there's got to be a time where you look back and you go, wow, what he accomplished was profound and it was impressive. When you look back at your dad's legacy, what is something that you look back and say, man, I can't really believe he accomplished that. He did that. This is something I'm really proud to have attached myself onto his legacy.
Well, just in general, even when my father passed, and I'll just go from different points, but when he passed, I remember beforehand, I got a call. It was a Sunday. I can't remember the exact date. He was such a private person that he was on the board of the Baptist Hospital community. And so he called one of the administrators at the hospital in Memphis and checked himself in. And so he was at the hospital for a week. Didn't tell anybody, but he went there and my mother said, he's in the hospital, just run some tests. And I told her, I said, I don't care what insurance you have. They're not going to let you stay in the hospital for a week unless there's something wrong.
Run some tests,
and that Sunday he said, I just got something to tell you. Just as a matter of fact, he said, hey, boy, I'm just going to call and tell you. I got stage 4 cancer in my prostate. Wow. Just like that. I was like, okay. just like that. But a testament, and this is not kind of telling you what the wow moment, just the person that he was. At one point, he started declining. So usually you call hospice.
Right.
And when he got into hospice, they gave him some meds because he had pain. And then that next night they said, hey, if in the morning he's alive or he may be gone. That next morning, opened that typical black fashion. We had a hospital bed in the living room.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a hospital bed in the living room. And when we got there, that next morning, opened the door, he said, hey, boy. And I still didn't know the unknown. So just to know who he was in the community, I made a phone call. And I think I may have called a couple people in the community and said, hey, if you want to talk to my father, you need to come by and see him.
Sure.
Because we're at that. Man, let me tell you, Kevin, at one point, we had Mary Trotter, Durrett, Rick Rita, Bert Singletary, anybody in the community that you can name.
Right.
And we averaged probably 20 to 60 people a day coming out of the house, just coming to see him. Yeah. And he loved it. And at that point, I knew that the people in the community, a guy from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a Baptist preacher, came here by Dayton, Ohio to preach at Mount Olive. I don't know if a lot of people know. We got here because he was called to preach at another church for a friend.
Okay.
And he was leaving. They're like, hey, Mount Olive on Main Street.
Yes.
Come here. We want you here. But all the people that came that day and then continued throughout. And one moment I came home on a Wednesday. London and I were coming to see him.
Okay.
Because I would give him his medicine in the morning and afternoon. And I remember turning that corner. I was like, London, who is having a party mid-Wednesday? This is turning off of Dunbar Cave Road to Swan Lake.
Okay.
And when we made that turn, it was cars lined up throughout the street. And we live 2 street blocks over.
Yeah. Got
there. It was probably 150 to 200 people out of the community.
Yeah.
Singing hymnals on the backyard.
Wow.
Gave me chill bumps. I was like, wow, that right there let me know that he made an impact on the community. Other things, I mean, he did the inaugural prayer when Nan McWhorter was
instituted as
governor.
Right,
so things like that, little things that you would see throughout, like that's not average Joe stuff, but just his message as the Holy Spirit. Other accolades, fine, but to see the impact he put on the community, and not to monopolize, but at one point after that, when they did the Jesus signs, Bikers Who Care got together, and I picked him up from his house, and strategically from our house on Swan Lake to F&M Bank, there were people, and it's on Facebook on my page years ago.
I saw it.
People going down, and people, hey, Pastor Terry. And he was like, oh my God. And then when we got to F&M Bank, thank you, Sammy, and whoever was instrumental, it was a 40-foot by 4-foot banner in red and white that said Jesus going down.
Right down the bank.
So that right there.
Yes. It's powerful.
Yes. And he went to that. After that, when we got home, because the whole time he said, hey, man, I'm tired. I can't wait to get out this suit.
Yeah.
When we got home, he took off his suit, took off his shirt, his Bible and everything still in it, folded up and said, hey, take this with you.
Oh, wow.
And then I knew, I don't want to get caught up in emotion, but it kind of resonated with me. And the next day, he told me he wouldn't eat.
Sure.
He told my mom, he said, I've elected to die.
Yeah.
So this whole time, I would bring him food all day from special restaurants because he said, I want this Panera Bread bowl with this. And then one day I said, hey, how was so-and-so? He said, boy, I haven't even been able to taste this food and had an appetite for 2 months.
Wow.
I just know I have to eat to live. So after he saw the people in the backyard singing the hymnals, after the Jesus signs all the way up, he knew that his message had been, I guess he almost saw the mountaintop. And he saw that. And that next day afterwards, when he said, you take this.
And he could exhale. He could
exhale. Yes. And he knew what to do. Like he was keeping himself alive. Most people, in the medical field, if you stop eating, that's what usually kills you. So he knew, I'm not hungry. I can't taste it. But to
there's
live,
still work to do.
I will eat it. And so.
Wow.
That right there.
I one of the stories I love about your dad, I remember being an 8 or 9 year old kid, and my dad's always hustling. He's always getting out and meeting people, and he would have us go sing around at all these different churches. Mm-hmm. And I remember from the earliest days when I'd run into your dad, 8 or 9 years old, we'd be singing at the church, and he'd come and look at me in the eye and he'd say, I love you and Jesus loves you. And it was so powerful every time I saw him. And that is, I'm not unique. That's what he told everybody. And that's one of the things that I remember constantly. You know, he'd just look you in the eye and with real heartfelt compassion and care, he'd say, I love you and Jesus loves you. And he was genuine. You know, he wasn't trying to achieve any personal agenda.
Not at all.
But he genuinely just loved people. And you have certainly, I know he's proud of you, of the influence that you've continued to build on. You know, I saw you did the Christmas Eve service at the Poor Man's Country Club and did it in his style. You know, and you're continuing the sign ministry and making sure that that's got the funding that it needs to continue. And so,
for sure,
you know, what a powerful man. Famously quoted as Clarksville is a
great place to live.
Great place to live. And you're carrying that on, and you're making us real proud, and I know you're making him proud too. But we got to hear about you too. We got to hear some more things that you're doing. So I feel like, as a Clarksville native, I know you are too, our town's kind of shifted a little bit. We've got a lot of positive momentum. So my question to you is, when do you feel like the momentum shifted, and what is a sign to you of something that's going on right now that you say, hey, that's something that we can all be really excited about?
I really think the momentum shifted when, and it's not going to be something that everyone likes to hear, but I feel like when we had the city mayor and the county mayor worked in unison.
Yes.
Because for a couple administrations, you had, okay, when I get in, I'm going to take care of this and do this.
Sure.
And we had some mayors they paid back each other. And now we're walking, when Mayor Durrett and Mayor Pitts got together and started kind of walking hand in hand, and you saw the city thriving and growing because you had an agenda together.
Yes.
And that makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. You don't have to be buddies. You don't have to be brothers. You got to be kissing cousins, though.
Yes.
And that's what it took.
That's
and I saw the shift. And we have a young community, like a good friend of mine, Alan Mosier. You have Sid Hedrick and a lot of people trying to put back into the downtown area.
Yes.
When you saw restaurants come into the area, and people want to see it grow.
That's right.
Because Wilma Rudolph is always going to blast.
That's it.
But people say, well, I went to Franklin, went to Murfreesboro, I saw this. We have it here.
We do.
You just have to support it and do it. And we've seen that change.
To it, invest in it. And like you say, we've been fortunate that some people with resources and ingenuity and the risk-taking mindset that have looked at it and said, this is opportunity.
Sure. And
we're going to seize it, and we're going to put our name on the line and help build something that we can all be proud of. And so, you know, I think we are thankful to them. And I think for, you know, what I would say is, for those people that are new to town that may have not ventured downtown, because, you know, downtown is a destination in your mind. You got to choose to go down there. It's not really a place that you don't accidentally run through there, but it is a place with lots of high value, lots of high entertainment, you know, just a place where people connect. And I think the more and more that we show as citizens that we're committed to helping this grow as just people of retail, you know, where we spend our dollars, where we invest our money, the restaurants that we go to, then I think it's going to continue to multiply and be blessed, you know, to all of us. So what are you excited about for our future? You know, what's going on right now that piques your interest and says, man, this is something coming soon down the pike, and I love to hear about it, or I love that this is something that we can expect? Well,
for sure, the F&M Arena that's coming there.
Yeah.
The Shelby 3, I think, across the street.
Yeah, right.
That right there is starting to catapult us into what's been going on in other cities.
Yes.
And we're overdue. We have been overdue. It's just a lot of people didn't have the vision, or we didn't have the infrastructure to do it. But now when that happens, and with, I think, Charles Hand, when he purchased the old Vulcan building, people have forgotten about that.
Yes.
That location has been leveled, and it's supposed to be multi-purpose shopping areas, restaurants, and housing. I think they're gonna have like a little city over there, and that just gives you different spots. Because if you ever gone down Wilma Rudolph, super busy.
Yes.
And then it's just congested. But if we have different outlets, we can sustain it as a city and spread it out and make the revenue and just entertainment. We have everything else. We have the schools, we have the population, we have the houses.
Yes.
But then I live off of exit 8, and London and I and my daughter, we'll shoot to Nashville in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's easier. But if we have it here and not crowded in each space, people will, like as they say, people will come and they will sustain it. So I'm excited about those projects that are coming up. That's going to make a difference.
Yeah. And I really hope, and I do believe that we're going to have that continued, unified mindset and leadership,
Sure.
in our different governments moving forward. And I'd forgotten about Vulcan. That's a great point. That is something to be excited about, because I think it was something that was underutilized, and that space is so critical as people are coming down Wilma Rudolph.
Yeah.
You're going to pass a major retail development, a major development that's going to add value before you get to downtown, before you get to Austin P. One of my favorite things that we do as a family is go to Austin P football games now.
Sure. Yes.
And we weren't doing that, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Not at all.
But now that, we're competitive, they've invested in it. We've got the new stadium and things like that. We're looking for daytime adventures that last several hours in that downtown area. And that's not something that we were really able to do maybe 10 years ago. You might go down there to do one thing, but you're headed right back out.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at, we can stop here. We can grab a bite here. We can go in and mingle here. We can visit the game. We'll spend some more time down there in that geographic area. That momentum is real positive. I love to hear it. So I'm going to give you a lightning round. You ready for this?
All right. Can I buy a vowel?
Can you buy a vowel?
All right. Is this almost like Steve Harvey?
Yeah, you on the spot.
No,
you on the spot.
Go.
All right.
All right. Here we go. 20
years ago, I didn't know this would be so hard.
Oh, I just told you 20 years ago, I was thin as a rail, custom suits. Hey, tell the truth. 20 years ago, I didn't know gaining and losing weight would be so hard.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right.
True. Yeah.
Personal lifestyle, how your body changes over time. Paying attention to it.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, that's a difference. People now, don't sleep on it.
Yes.
Get a hold to it now.
It's real, huh?
All right.
Cool.
There we go.
20 years ago, I didn't know this would be so fun.
Being a father.
Wow.
I have a 15-year-old daughter that, under circumstances, not a bad circumstance, but she's lived with me solely since she's been 10 years old. And it's been the best ever. That's the best achievement.
Yeah. It was really funny, because my next question is, I really admire the way you love your daughter. It's public, it's genuine, it's deeply felt. Anybody that knows you loves that you enjoy being a father,
Don't make me cry.
And you love your daughter deeply. So I'm curious, what's one thing you've enjoyed about parenting her in the last year? Because this is a tough season for teenagers.
Yeah.
So what are you learning? What have you enjoyed? What has she accomplished that you're like, wow, this makes me so thrilled to be her dad, right?
So just to watch her mature and if you know me, just recently she started having seizures.
Okay.
And so that right there, and this is a lightning round, so it's not a lightning answer, but she started having seizures last February. And so it's been a year now. And the first time that she had her first seizure freaked me out. I came in the room and she was in that situation, and she's had a couple since. And so that gave me a better appreciation, because you take it under cruise control. And I have friends that have children with disabilities and whatnot. And that right there, I already loved her. That's my thing. Before hashtags were a thing, I love that baby.
That's right.
I mean, when she was born, so she's 15, I used to put her after that, I love that baby, all one word. But the fact is just to know that this is not promised to you. So I appreciate it more.
Yes.
And to watch her mature and grow, it's the best gift ever. I take her to school every day and we just talk. She cooked dinner last night.
Wow.
And it was just cool. Yeah. So that right there, for sure.
Yeah. What a gift. What a gift. All right. You just finished a long 24-hour shift at the fire station. What's one thing in our local community that you're going to look forward to when you leave the fire station and say, hey, this is going to help me unwind. This is going to help me get refreshed. This is going to help me get back into full spirits?
What would, in the community, that would help me unwind? Oh, I mean, I hope, no knock to anyone else, but I'll stop by Chopping Block and get a omelet, a grilled chicken omelet. It's the best. It'll bring you back. Grilled chicken omelet.
Block.
I'll be there tomorrow. I meet Pastor Mike there.
Okay.
For Life Point.
All right.
We'll have
Mike
breakfast.
Burnett.
Yes. Oh, Mike. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. Yes. I'm about to leave the fire department.
Yeah.
I still have.
I knew that you were.
I'm close.
You told me that that was possible.
Yeah.
So.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I have to shave this beard one more time, and after that, it's coming back.
Well, I like the chicken veggie omelet, or did you say the chicken omelet?
Yeah,
that's a tip. That's a tip.
Try the grilled chicken omelet. It's good.
Tell them JT sent you.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
All right, last question. So you get a book deal today. You get to tell your story. What's the title? What's the subject matter? What is your book about by Jimmy Terry Jr.?
Being a preacher's son can be fun. That's what I'll call it.
Being a preacher's son can be fun.
Being a preacher's son can be fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, thanks for joining us. This has been fun. It's been
a pleasure.
You've been dropped some wisdom on us. We got to tell some great stories about your family, about all the positive impact that you've had in this community over the years. And I know that you're going to continue to do that. You're an inspiration to me. I'm watching you from afar, seeing you achieve big things. I'm nothing but happy for you, and hopefully I can, achieve some of those same things along my journey as well.
Oh, you will. I guarantee you will. It's been a pleasure.
All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you.